rider of the broadcast this evening, we are going to start with this sub heading of the broadcast, which is the recent outburst or interview of El-Rufai, the Kaduna Little Finger. He spoke to the daily trusted team just about the ongoings in Nigeria, where he took on Kolu on Akpabiole. Okay, he said he didn't actually really know Kolu like that it was some Islamic leaders from Southwest Yoruba land approached him to support a Southern Muslim to be president. And after that, everything that happened between them, they are just, circumstantial. So he didn't know him. He called Akpabiole a vagabond, by the way. But in Abuja today, right, Omoyele Sowore joined the call for mandatory electronic transfer of election result, electronic transmission of election result, rather, because they have been battling between these two words, transfer, transmit. We are going to get to that. So the next 10-15 minutes of this conversation is going to be what El-Rufai recently released into the atmosphere that is already brewing into their usual toxicity. So please, as you join, remember, like, share, and invite your friends. Subscribe to the channel too if you haven't already. So let's start with El-Rufai just before we go to Abuja, because we are really going to be busy there this hour, right? So El-Rufai was talking about Kolu and why he supported Kolu and why he wasn't really expecting anything from him in that regard, by the way. So here is where we're going to start from. El-Rufai, the Kaduna Little Finger.
To ask you, how or why did you fall out with Tinubu, given the way you were putting yourself out there to ensure that he became the candidate of your party, then the APC, and all of that, all those meetings that you are like spearheading other governors then to do. And then here you are now sitting out as one of the main opposition people to Tinubu. What is it that broke?
Okay, you see, first of all, yeah, look, I think it's important to make this clarification. I like your question because there is an assumption that I was ever Tinubu's friend. I was not. We never got along with Tinubu. Okay, we never had a personal relationship. We never had a prior relationship like the one I had with General Buhari of blessed memory. Okay, so I want everyone to understand that. For me, Tinubu was initially an aspirant of the party, and I was approached by certain Islamic stakeholders from the Southwest and asked to support the emergence of a Southwest Muslim presidential candidate. That was how even the discussion started. And for me, as governor of Kaduna State and as one of the founders of the APC, I knew that we had an understanding with the South, or specifically the Southwest, that after 8 years of Buhari, power will go to the South. It was a matter of principle. I stood for that. It wasn't about Tinubu. Tinubu just happened to be an accidental beneficiary of that. Now, as soon as Tinubu won the primaries, it is a principle of mine that I fight for the candidate of my party in every election to win, whether I like the candidate or not. It's not whether I like Tinubu or not. The fact that he emerged as the candidate of the party, for me, I would give everything to ensure that he won. And that's what I did. Now, I don't think we fell out with Tinubu, okay? We fell out, we didn't fall out with Tinubu. We just could not find areas of agreement. Okay, there was no equilibrium. We couldn't agree. I'm a different kind of person. I am in government for different reasons. I am a public servant, and I believe that public service should be about delivery, about results and performance. It's not about making money for yourself. It's not about stealing. It's not about appointing your cronies. It's not about appointing your tribesmen and women. Even if the offer that Tinubu made to me, which he publicly appealed to me to take up, to be a minister in his cabinet. Even if that had gone through, I would have left the government long ago, because the philosophy of this government is contrary to everything that I have been taught as a Muslim, as a northerner, as a Nigerian, to stand for public good. These guys don't care about public good. They didn't come to govern. They came to enrich themselves, pure and simple. So we are different people. So it should not surprise anybody that knows me and knows Tinubu to see that we are parallel lines that will never meet.
Let's talk about godfathers and godsons. Your own godson, the sitting governor.
So that's El-Rufai. As usual, right? Going lyrical of why he did what he did. Number one, some Islamic leaders from the Southwest. And he was the one who sold the idea of the Muslim ticket to Kalu in the first place, by the way. And then they decided to disgrace him publicly by appointing him as ministerial nominee, only to be rejected by the Akpabiole's Senate. And he referred to him, he said, look at this conversation around mandatory e-transmission of election results. That shouldn't, by all means, right, lead to all these controversial confrontations and all that. So he called Akpabiole a scumbag, in his words.
To recommend restoration. Now it is up to the Senate, well, particularly the Senate president, because I think majority of the senators also want the same. The majority of the senators are gentlemen. They want Nigeria to move forward. They are distinguished former governors, former ministers, and former representatives. They are distinguished people that want to see Nigeria make progress. And I think the Senate will overwhelmingly outvote their presiding officer. Because let's be clear, it is not the Senate here that's the problem. Akpabio, who is a scumbag by every definition, is the problem. And Akpabio is nothing but Asuaju's lapdog. That's what's going on. And the senators will have to come together and protest and prevent that from happening when they reconvene.
But Mr. Akpabio himself will also protest on the use of your choice of word to describe him. He may have his issues, but certainly it's good to stay within the limits in terms of describing maybe distinguished people like him. Don't you think?
I do not consider him distinguished. We've known each other since the 90s. He knows how far we've been through, and I think I'm qualified to call him a scumbag, and he knows why.
Can we move on to the larger picture? You earlier said that it is the ruling party that is against this whole thing because, as you allege, it could lose the elections. But are you also not considering the fact that the president will have to assent to this before it becomes law? How do you think that could happen if what you earlier said is right?
Yes, what I said is absolutely right. And my sense is that when the National Assembly overrides Akpabio and includes this provision, the president may withhold assent, in which case it will come back to the National Assembly for them to exercise their two-thirds override, to override his veto. I think that will happen because I think the voice of Nigerians is very loud and clear as far as the National Assembly members are concerned. And for their own self-preservation, they must preserve this provision for the real-time transmission of results from the polling unit using electronic means. It's for their own survival. It's for the survival of this democracy.
But others may not be as hopeful as you are, given what this same National Assembly has done over many issues, like the way it changed the national anthem, the way the tax laws were passed, and all the controversy about actually what is the version that has been gazetted and all of that. There has been no clarity on this all-important issue. So how do you expect it to be any different over this matter of almost life and death, that is winning or losing an election?
Because we're in election season. And 2 years ago, they can change the national anthem in 5 minutes. Last year, they can play games with the tax reform bills. But now they know that 2026 is the year of preparing for elections. It is the year that candidates will emerge. And Nigerians are watching, and Nigerians are angry, and Nigerians will punish them if they go the way that Akpabio and Tinubu want to recommend restoration.
Are Nigerians angry, unhappy, for real? And if they are, is he actually in El-Rufai's place to become that kind of like a mouthpiece? Some of these questions are not meant to be answered, so don't worry. So yeah, El-Rufai called Akpabiole a scumbag that is ready to do anything and everything that Kolu wants, obviously. So they are referring to him as Kolu's wife. I'll show you that image very soon. So yesterday, when Peter Obi joined other Nigerians to demand that stop playing games with people. People are not dumb, okay? Your job is to make laws. Yours is not to determine how that law is to be implemented or if it's going to be implemented or not. They want real-time electronic transmission of results. Put it in the law. That's it. Let INEC come back and tell you, the National Assembly, that, oh, listen, we can't do live transmission in this and that and that and that areas for this so and so reasons. And then it will now be the job of the National Assembly to also help them further in kind of like a fixing that. Akpabiole and his gang are already acting like they are the INEC. Okay, so therefore they would decide what they think is right or wrong, even though there is huge uproar to say, put it there. INEC participated in this, their consultations and all that they did during the bill, right? And INEC said they have what it takes to conduct elections and transmit the results live, right? But there is some shady areas that a lot of people are not paying attention to. I am going to help us open that up a bit. And if you have already been like seeing through the whole lies and shenanigans about this whole thing and their 2027 charade, right? Maybe we're on the same page, but we're going to get to that part. So for now, when Peter Obi joined them yesterday, they promised that today, which was the day they put together they called their emergency plenary to call back all the senators that, you know what, don't wait till 24th of February. Before we reconvene, we would have to do it now. So the protesters yesterday then promised them that there will be huge other turnouts today, which will make it more hectic for them in case if they continue to double down on, you know what, we can't do e-transmission and all that stuff. So to El-Rufai, if he was in Nigeria, he would have joined Obi, because I was asking that where were the other leaders of the opposition? Because this is exactly how it should be. If you're going to participate in a charade and you are telling them that if they rig you, voila, go day, but yet you couldn't lead the people or the millions of people you are promising to rescue from these guys. But El-Rufai said if he was around, he would have joined. Atiku also supports, but he's not physically there, right? El-Rufai, in his own defense.
Some members of your party, including Mr. Peter Obi and others, joined a protest at the National Assembly over the current big issue, this electronic transmission of results during election. Where do you stand on that matter?
It's unfortunate I have not been able to return to Nigeria before today. I would have joined Mr. Peter Obi and other party leaders in protesting to the National Assembly to restore the real-time and mandatory transmission of results from the polling unit. It is the only way we can stop the manipulation that goes on in the collation centers. That is where the real rigging takes place. Rigging doesn't take place in the polling unit. It is in the collation centers. And this provision, which has been passed by the House of Representatives, but sadly being frustrated by the Senate, would have improved the quality of our elections. But we all know why the ruling party And the sitting government doesn't want that because they know they can't win the elections. And the only way they have a fighting chance is to be able to manipulate the results after people have voted. So I would have joined them if I was in Abuja. I would have joined them. I would have been with Mr. Peter Obi.
How do you think it will pan out, given the fact that the Senate itself, or at least its leadership, appear to have dug into their position? Because there are already claims by the minority members of the Senate that what they agreed on was not what was passed. How do you think all this could be sorted out at the end, since the Senate itself says it is reconvening tomorrow over the matter?
Well, I think the conference committee will make its recommendations first. I am confident, looking at the composition of the conference committee and the integrity of a majority of its members, they will recommend the restoration of the provision for the real-time transmission of results from the polling unit. So I think the conference committee will resolve this in favor of the people of Nigeria, because this is about the people of Nigeria. It's really not about elections or about APC or ADC or any other party. It's about giving Nigerians the opportunity to vote for whom they want, and that result should not be subject to any.
Some members of your party, including Mr. Peter Obi and others, joined.
He would have joined them, like he said, and back to the expectation that, wait, maybe with this level of reactions, right, that Apabiole will do the right thing. So today, people gathered in Abuja, a lot of them, Rotifmi Amechi, Omoyele Showore, you have Solomon, Dalong, something, Aisha Yesufu, this guy called Peter, right? And then many others, right, who gathered with the same sing-song. Apabiole, you may be Tinubu's second wife or the second vex lady of Nigeria. But if you don't want to blow up this democracy in Nigeria, you would have to do what the people want, which is the real life or real time electronic transmission of election results. So this morning, like I said, they all gathered with their speeches, okay, in front of the National Assembly of Nigeria. But let me give you a bit of a throwback to 2022, right? How they arrived at the current, the one they used for 2023 election, Electoral Act. How they arrived at that ridiculous one that they, in fact, gave the total control to the INEC to decide as they wish, okay, by changing the goalpost in the middle of the game. So how did they arrive at that? Who and who at the time insisted that electronic transmission of results was not possible because of their own communities? A bit of a throwback, ladies and gentlemen.
Because there are no coverage in my village, I vote no. My name is Eyinaya Baribe, and I vote yes to Nigeria, yes to electronic voting. I hereby vote no.
Mr. President, I stand on the side of the people, of Nigerians. I vote yes.
In support of electronic transfer, electronic transmission of results, I vote no.
I stand for the commission may transmit results of election by electronic means.
I support the transfer of results through electronic process by INEC.
I stand to say yes for electronic transmission of election results.
Mr. President, I vote no.
Mr. President, I vote yes.
Okay, thank you.
To electronic transmission of results.
I vote capital no on the electronic transmission of votes.
Mr. President and my dear colleagues, I vote yes to electronic transfer of results and electronic voting. And
on behalf of the very rural and network deprived people of Niger North, I say a very big and capital underline no.
What we have passed, and I can recollect this vividly, because I read that act when it was a bill several times, is to transfer, after all the paperwork that we normally do are done, the agents and everybody there, security, everybody will have the papers. INEC will snap or scan or snap the result sheet and transmit or transfer or whatever it is. And for me, my understanding is, if any result that was captured and sent differs from something gotten somewhere, that one is illegal.
Nuisance leleyi. Nuisance leleyi.
Let me clear my throat, because I want you to